Good afternoon, good people. This is your host, Calvin Anderson, for the Check In with podcast. We're coming to the end of season two, and the best way to end the season is with this gentleman that I have with me today. Russell Wall is the CEO of Arts Therapies UK, a leading mental health charity dedicated to making therapeutic support accessible to individuals, workplaces, and communities. With over 20 years of experience in the charity sector, Russell has been at the forefront of driving meaningful change, ensuring that art, music, and drama therapy reach those who really need it most. His leadership has helped shape and innovate programs that support mental well-being, whether through one-on-one therapy, workplace initiatives, or community-based projects. Russell is a firm believer in the power of creative expression as a tool for healing and resilience. And today he's here to share his journey, insights, and the impact of art therapies in today's world. Ladies and gentlemen, give another warm welcome and standing ovation to Russell Wall. Russell, how are you?
I'm okay, Calvin. I'm great after that lovely intro. That's perfect.
Russell, thank you so much for your patience. Guys, listeners, we had a technical issue, but we're back here now. Russell, I gave a brief intro into you and your work and stuff, but for the listeners, because you are a CEO now, could you give us like your origin, the I guess the steps you took to now being the CEO of one of the most leading and most impactful companies and charities that there is in the UK?
Yeah. Can do so. But I'm in my 40s now, so get comfortable. It's a long journey. It's a long story. Get the fire going. No. So, honestly, my journey to where I am today started completely by accident. I am a trained air conditioning engineer. That's the job I was doing before joining the charity sector. I mean,
Yeah.
some would argue maybe not a very good engineer, but that's up to them. Uh, and yeah, I just have I had my family really young, so I was at a point in the career where I was out the house and the kids were in bed, and I was getting home and the kids were still in bed. So I decided I wanted a different life. I wanted to sort of way back then, before work-life balance became a buzzword or anything like that. I knew I wanted a better one. So really, there was an advert for a handyman for a local charity, local learning disabilities charity, which was a literal 10-minute walk from where I was living. It was up the hill. It was great. I had drove past the entrance to this charity daily for about 2 years and had no idea it was there. It
Wow.
was really sort of tucked away behind some houses, but yeah, I would drive past the entrance to it. So handyman, nice, easy transition of skills from being an air conditioning engineer. I was got the job. Found actually that I had a talent, for want of a better word, but a real enjoyment of working with people with learning disabilities. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the ethos of the charity. It was a day service. I say was. I'm talking about it in past tense. It's not. It's still going. So it was a day service that was built around providing work experience and training for adults with learning disabilities, and they were operated as commercial businesses. So it was a garden center,
Yeah.
and it was operated, and that was the ethos of the charity, was that it didn't want customers to come in and buy the plants because they were made by somebody and grown by somebody with a learning disability. Actually, what it was is it was a quality product. They were working with the guys with disabilities and upskilling them and producing them to produce a quality product
Yeah.
that actually, if you were a customer and you came in and you bought the plant, you'd want to support the charity because you were having something proper. So, the ethos was there was nothing ever sort of grown in yogurt pots or anything, which a lot of similar sort of organizations did. It was actually, no, it's going to be a quality plant prop with a quality plant in it, and that was what was driven. And that, I think, really sort of spoke to me, and it was great to be able to sort of help people achieve those sort of things. And then I was really, really blessed there by the fact that there was a lady there who ran the training department in the organization who recognized something in me that I didn't even recognize. And she took me under her wing. So I was actually only a handyman for about 7 months there. And then she um, bullied the CEO there at the time to make sure I sort of came across and worked on her department, worked on the training department. And then that was my sort of first introduction to actually what nurturing leadership could be, and how it could work. And again, and something that I still like to do today and still take on. I learned it sort of there. She recognized this potential. She encouraged me to do my further education teaching qualification. So I could be there, to teach legitimately the adults who we were working with, put them through the training program. So she recognized that and encouraged this journey of lifelong learning. I have, and I still want to do, and I still do, and actively like that. I mean, until she pushed me that way, that was it. I was a engineer sort of thing for life. That was it. That was my skills. That was the learning. That was the level of my learning that I was going to do. So through my work with the charity sector, I've gained more qualifications and advanced my career from a development point of view more in the charity sector than I would have if I had stayed being an engineer or anything like that. So which was really, really good. And I think what was inspiring about working in the charity sector is you get back what you put in. So it was really, really good. So every learning that I did and every development level that I did was rewarded with a new opportunity. Also, I was sort of able to take opportunities too and create them and sort of generate them. We one point early on, our CEO at the time took us around a potential new sites that he was thinking of expanding. Took all the whole staffing team, the organization around it, showed them there, and it was a case of just boom, the light bulb went off. The vision, I could see the vision. I could see exactly what this was going to be. And as soon as we got back, I was straight into his office and said, I can see it. I want it. I want to run it. And he sort of shook my hand and said, right, let's go and do it. And so then before I knew it, I was running a garden centre and providing a new experience for adults with learning disabilities, which was it was great. So whatever he saw in me, the potential, and I saw it. So got that back. I mean, so then as I've grown from that point, I've been responsible for employing people and have made sure that every step up I've taken, I'm making sure my hand is going down to sort of bring somebody up for the next level. I keep encouraging that lifelong learning and that opportunity sort of thing in people. Where when I left that learning disabilities charity, its staffing team was made up of 25 individuals, and there's only 3 of them that I didn't hire. So it's got quite a nice sort of feeling that actually, they're there and they've been brought along for that. And then, so how on earth did I get from a learning disability charity to running a mental health charity, and especially an arts therapy one as well as that? Was basically down to a bit of partnership working. So before we became Art Therapies UK, which I'm sure we'll talk about a bit more in a bit, we were called the Birmingham Centre for Art Therapies. So about roughly, I think everything's measured in before pandemic and after pandemic now, isn't it? So about 2 years before the pandemic, we partnered with Birmingham Centre for Art Therapies, and they came in and worked with us and did a project for about a year. We worked with them on a couple of little projects. But what was really interesting, really good to see is we had one project where we were going to put on a pantomime. So Birmingham Centre for Art Therapies were working with our guys to develop a pantomime, a fun little sort of pantomime. And honestly, I could have handpicked out at the time. I think there was about 80 individuals accessing the service. Out of these 80, I could have picked probably about 30 to 40 individuals who I'd say, "Val, love this. Let's push them. Let's go and do them."
Yeah.
For it, I would have done that. But yeah, we don't work like that. Everybody gets the opportunity to do it. And there was one lady, I always sticks out. There was one lady, she had been using the service from day dots, from pretty much 1984 was when it started. And if, like I said, I could pick 40 off the top of my head who could put for it. If I was to make a list of people that I wouldn't even dream that they'd engage with it or want to do it, this lady would have been in the top three, top five. She just would have, and that was just because I knew her for so long and I knew who she was and stuff like this. She engaged almost from day one with this project of what we were doing. And I was able to see a completely different person.
Yeah.
And that was, quite sort of inspiring. It was quite sobering for me as an individual to sort of say that actually I already had this preconception of this lady that she wouldn't engage in this and she wouldn't take part of it. So it was a great big wake up call for me and a learning process for me as a sort of individual. But it was just beautiful to actually see this lady take part in something completely new and really sort of come out of the shell and really engage with her peers in a completely different way. So it was great. So that was that. I was sold. I was sold on what Birmingham Centre for Art Therapies was selling. That was it. I was sold. I was on board, and like I said, we had a relationship, and we sort of grew from there to the point where the Birmingham Centre for Art Therapies hit a bit of a bump in its sort of what's the best word sort of thing. Yeah, bit of a bump in its sort of management cycle. Yeah, and that where then I was asked to come on board as a trustee of the organisation and to sort of help the organisation there. And then pretty about 3-4 months into being a trustee, I was asked actually, did I want the challenge of being the CEO? And so I said yes, of course. I said yes, and then here we are, sort of coming on 4 years later.
Wow. Russell, that's such an epic journey. I mean, especially when you said about just starting off and saying, the engineering side, that's like where you were just, that was it for you. You were kind of like,
Yeah.
this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to be. I'm going to maximize this opportunity and this is my field. To then now becoming a CEO and taking on that mantle and building this company and charity, to newer heights and newer levels. I love how you didn't say no to anything. You just kept saying yes.
Our our family motto. We have 2 family mottos at home. One is if you can't sing good, sing loud. And the second is no good story starts with the word no.
I love that, Russ. I'll probably use that in when I publish an episode. I'll probably put that as the heading, if you don't mind. Russ, I wanted to get into some leadership and business questions, if that's okay.
Yeah.
First one is, as the CEO of Art Therapies UK, what's one challenge you're faced with in your role and how did you overcome it?
I'd say the biggest challenge as becoming sort of CEO is the charity had been run by the founder.
Yeah.
So there was what's called founder syndrome that was sort of built into the organization, and also I had to manage a sort of transition. So the founder wasn't running the organization at the time, but she was still involved in little pockets. So it was a challenge is a sort of understatement, and it was there. And there was this real quick need for the organization to sort of transition into what I call a charitable business. Rather than being a charity. And I think there is this, and you can sort of see it quite regularly with smaller charities, which I thought from such a good place, is such a kind place, and have such an impact things like that, but they're not set up with a business acumen to put into place. And if you want to keep the good work that you're doing on you, if you want to grow and you want to keep helping some more people, you do have to get a bit more sort of business savvy, and you do have to incorporate those elements of the business world, which I think it's quite easy as small charities to see business as the enemy. We're here, we're charity, we're doing this great thing. We're going to help as many people as we can, which is brilliant, which is noble. But oh no, we're not going to do it as a business because they're the enemy, and it's not. You've got to take the same approach, and you've got to come across to it. So we had big challenges at the start when the team were all sort of on board and we're all involved, but we had to do a really quick shift of, okay, but this is what you've been used to, and you've been used to this for years and years and years. We're going to have to do it this way. It's going to have to, we are going to have to do the invoice, the end of month process this way now. It doesn't matter if it was done like that before. It's being done like this now, and we're going to have to engage with the people in need, our clients, our customers. We're going to have to start engaging with them this way. We're going to have to start putting a handful of barriers in place and boundaries and things like that, just so we can. And it's not to be mean or anything, but it is so we can actually make sure we can help them today, but we can help 5 more people tomorrow, and then 10 more people the day after that. And they have to sort of be put into place. I mean, what was great and what made those challenges so easy to sort of to do was the fact that the team that I had were brilliant, and it was a small team, it was a tight-knit team, but they knew change had to come. It was them who brought me in as that, and then the board of trustees knew change had to happen, so it was them who said, would you want to be sort of CEO? So I had the backing for the change, and it's just as with any changes, it can be sort of painful at times, the things.
I love how you had the support of people in your transition, Russell, and
can't do any of this without the people. It's great. You gave me that glowing introduction that made me blush at the start, but you can't do any of this without a team, and you need the team to do it. You need the people around you. So definitely business and charities and just your communities. We're all made up of the people who are around us, the people who influence us, and we need them. So I'm very much people led. It's about the people around me. So as much as I love taking credit for stuff, I can't do it. Can't do it without the team.
Without the team. No, that's so key, Russell. Thank you for saying that. And I guess it just emphasizes just in terms of you and where you are. And like you said, you're people led. That's what drew you to taking the position. And yeah, I think to emphasize what you said about teamwork is so crucial. Like you said, you can't do things on your own. Like you need people in place to do things. Russell, what would you say is the most rewarding part of leading an organization in the field of art therapy?
That's a good one. Oh, that's a hard one. It's different being at the sort of CEO level. Again, I'm here for the people. I'm here for our clients. I'm here for what we do, and when we do it. But I don't get, like I gave that anecdote about the young lady who I saw have the impact. I don't, as CEO, you don't get to see that as much. You have to make a sort of conscious effort to get out there and go into the community. And then the thing with art therapies, with any sort of therapy, is they're closed sessions, they're private sessions, so you don't get to sort of see them. You don't get to see the individuals. And again, with the work that we do, we go to where people need us. So it's not about a center directing it. So there's not, even if I go out the office now and make a cup of tea, I'd bump into somebody or some parents or a partner waiting for somebody to come out for therapy. We don't get that. So it's quite interesting to know, to have it is I suppose looking at the impact with as cold as it's going to sound, the spreadsheet. at the end of the month, actually knowing like this is the amount of people that we've helped this month. Actually, we've delivered. You know, I mean, we deliver. It's a ridiculous amount. Like one just short of 2,000 hours of therapy a year. You know, is what we deliver. So seeing that number grow every year, it's great, and that's the motivation. That's the sort of kick to it.
Yeah.
You know, getting to see that. We do run community sessions, so
Yeah.
when I get to see the photos and the little quotes that come up of people who are taking part in those sessions, that's the motivation that sort of keeps it going.
Mhm.
But then also seeing the team grow
Yeah.
and develop and stuff like that. I mean, we've had fantastic growth, personal growth in the team over the last sort of 12 months. We were able to do a little sort of mini in-house restructure. Now I know when sort of the word restructure gets mentioned in any sort of organization, it's oh no, who's for the chop? But actually, it was completely opposite from that. We were having a restructure because we'd had the individuals who had outgrown their roles, actually, whose potential had grown, who they've developed. So actually, let's have this restructure because we can put this person's now has grown into this sort of position, which then can drive the organization forward, which again means we can help more people and things like that. So it's great. So I think circle all the way back. What motivates me, what keeps me sort of in this, doing this sort of thing, it's actually getting to have that positive impact on people. So on the clients, on the staffing team, whoever it is, as long as I'm there helping somehow, some way, that's it. Or encouraging other people to help. So I'm helping by proxy, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
That's the key.
It's so interesting, Russell, because I know when we first had our conversation, our first meet up, and I essentially thought you was a therapist, and then you mentioned to me, and you were saying, "No, Calvin, I'm not a therapist at all. I'm coming from this side." So, but the fact that you are a people person, it just fits so well with just the role and everything, which is amazing. I think it's so good to just hear a CEO talk about and be passionate about, the work he's doing and also just the people in general. I think that's so amazing.
Yeah. Don't ask me to anything too technical about therapy. I'll shoot myself in the foot on this.
Um, Russell, what's your leadership style and how do you think it aligns with the values of Art Therapists UK?
Oh, okay. So leadership styles. This is always a sort of fun one to sort of come back to. Because again, you know, I've done umpteenth training over the years, and then um, it's always been you'll fit into one of these boxes. This is your leadership style, and this is the box you're going to be. You take that questionnaire, and this is you fit in today and stuff. I'd sort of like to think my leadership style is it's about listening. It's about encouraging the most sort of thing from the team and being very sort of self-aware.
Mm,
I'm not here to know everything.
mm,
And I think that's sort of key. I'm not here to know everything, and I don't claim to know everything. Like I just said, if you ask me about some therapist, some therapeutic theory or something, I'm going to be completely out my depth. But if you were, and I had the team around me, sort of thing, I know I would yell across to Dawn, my head of ops and my deputy CEO. I said, "What does he mean by this?" Yeah, I'm not here to know it also, but it's making sure I've got skilled people around me who do know this sort of stuff and who do know those sort of informations, and that's it. And again, we talk about the sort of different boxes. It's I have to jump from box to box to box depending on what the situation is. So as much I have a really high functioning team and I give them a lot of trust, and that's how we work, and this is how we sort of operate. But occasionally there's times when you have to jump into the authoritarian box. And
mm,
I think that's key to why does this work? But that I'm not a therapist running a mental health organization,
yeah.
because you have to separate the head from the heart.
Mm,
And um, then there's times where you do have to be sort of quite a return. And it's a case of, I actually know, you know what, we've got to do it this way. It has to be done this way. And that's either, we can't continue working in this community session, or, you know what, actually this piece of software, it's difficult to work now, but give it a handful of time, and you're gonna get, and it's going to save us some time and some energy. So actually, tough. You do, we're doing it on this piece of software, and that's that. And then you have to also see the long game and things like that. So, and then come back to just, again, my leadership style again is part of investing in the team. Going back to them, I want to hear how they want to develop. I want to encourage their development and their sort of personal growth too.
Just hearing you again, it goes always back to the people and the people that you're around and the investment in people, Russell. I really do appreciate that. More so now, a lot of CEOs are talking about investing in the team and investing in people. And it's so good to have someone who is in the UK and isn't a CEO and speaks about it highly like you do. So I really appreciate that.
Thank you. Appreciate you hearing it. Lovely.
Russell, art therapy is a niche but an important field. How do you ensure it stays relevant and accessible in today's world?
Oh, that's brilliant, because that's a brilliant question. And that is a big part of the organization's mission, and also personal mission, personal sort of ambition. Nuts and bolts of what we do as a charity. We're here to help as many people as we can. That's it. That's nuts and bolts of it. But then, the key is, like you said, arts therapy. So that art, music, drama, play, dance, they are unknown to Joe Public, on the street. So part of my personal ambition and the ambition is to actually get Joe Public, get the general public to understand that actually these are qualified therapists delivering a qualified practice that can help individuals. That actually, if you talk to somebody and say, tell me about therapy, and they'll describe the traditional chaise longue, feet up, somebody there with a notepad scribbling all their secrets down. To actually, I want them to get to say, well, you could do the chaise longue approach, or you could do some art therapy, or you could do some music therapy, and things that actually, these are incredibly powerful alternatives to what people think, and can help people along their mental health journey. I had no idea before engaging with Birmingham Centre for Art Therapies at the time what art, music, play, drama, dance therapy could be. If you'd asked me back then what art therapy was, I would have described a very therapeutic, communal sort of experience. My go-to would have been a group of prisoners sort of working together to all with an easel and a canvas in front of them, painting a picture that was led by somebody, and those sort of things. And a similar sort of thing would have come out with sort of music therapy. I probably would have described a group of people just banging the drum and just being there as that sort of collective thing. I certainly would not have gone from there to actually clinical experience and a clinical qualified therapist delivering therapy to sort of people. And that is the key to what I want to get across. I want to get across that as if there is a NHS form that somebody is filling in on their journey to engage with therapy at some point, they click on the drop-down menu and they're given this list of actual options there to sort of come from and to pick from, and to decide, what art therapy is, what I want to do. I've seen the post from Art Therapies UK. I actually understand a bit about what art therapy is, thanks to the work that these brilliant people have done. And you know what? I'm going to choose to engage with that. Or, I need some mental health support for my children. I'm going to look at music therapy. I'm going to look at play therapy, because actually I understand a bit more about it now. my kids are all sort of grown up now, pretty much. The youngest, she's 15. You know, if we went back in time 8 years ago, and I needed to get some mental health support for them, I wouldn't have thought of art therapy or music therapy or play therapy for them at all. It just wouldn't have been there.
Yeah.
And now, in hindsight, looking back, perfect fit for them. It would have been absolutely perfect and so much better than trying to organize talking therapies for them at all.
Yeah.
It just would have worked. And it's, I suppose, yes, key is to getting this sort of message across that, I talked about boxes for my leadership style, and it's getting people to realize actually they don't belong in a box, and everybody shouldn't be just shoved into one box.
Yeah.
Let them have a look at all the different boxes, all the different options, and give it a go and try it, because it will help them. And that's the key. It's about helping that person along that journey of their mental health and that journey that they want to do. And I do honestly think if we force people into the wrong one, then that's going to do them more damage. It's going to set them back on this journey even further. But that's just because they don't know all the choices that they've got there. And I'm not advocating one is better than the other or anything, because it's different horses for different courses, isn't it? And that's that. But you've just got to know what's there and what your options are. And that's really personally what I want to do. And that's personally what I find a really sort of good challenge of being in an organization like Art Therapies UK.
I love that answer, Russell. And like you said, letting people know what is available and what is accessible to them. And talk therapy might not be what they need. They might need music. They might need art. They might need drama or dance. It's just dependent on, I guess, what it is that they're going through in life and what would actually work in terms of just alleviating what they're going through and taking them to a better position in life. So I think that's, I really, really love that response. And
And what we're working on as an organization is a couple of little pet projects. We've got our fundraiser, our main fundraiser, Helen. She trained to be a play therapist. And so, we're part of loads of conversations about play therapy over the year, over the years, trying to learn more and stuff like this. Me and her have had several conversations over the years about actually trying to repackage play therapy a little bit as something for adult men. Talked a bit about sort of play therapy and the difficulty, the well-documented difficulties men have. Talking about mental health and engaging with anything relating to their sort of mental health sort of thing. Actually, we often joke. It was a flyaway joke that sparked the conversation about actually, you know what? If I walked into a room and there was a big scale electrics in there and I had a go, I was starting to play on the scale electric. I'd spill all my secrets too. I'd be distracted by the cars on the things. And actually, so it sparked the conversation about actually, why play therapy? You think of play therapy, right? You just think of kids straight away.
Yeah.
Actually, is there more there? Is there more here actually to repackage it, to readdress it, to sort of actually engage with more people, make them realize this is actually this could be a good vehicle with your mental health journey and things like that. So that's what, again, another thing that's I'm really passionate about and enjoy about being in the charity sector, about working for Art Therapies UK, is we can have these conversations and they can almost start as jokes. It can almost start as something silly, but it gets some traction amongst the team of brilliant people. And then we also have the freedom to try and let's give it a go. Let's have a look at this. Let's give it a go. So keep your eyes out on our social media. You might see something quite soon.
No, definitely. Russell, the fact that you mentioned Scale Electrics literally was like, I haven't heard that game or that toy mentioned in so long. And that was like a Christmas gift. And you could just play it for hours and hours and you wasn't ever bored. It's so crazy how times have changed.
Yeah, it is. But I saw that twinkle in your eye as soon as I said Scale Electric. I knew you were straight back to a Christmas morning.
I was straight there, Russell. I was straight there. Russell, in your opinion, what makes Art Therapists UK stand out from other organizations in the mental health and therapy space?
A good one. If I'm honest, I'll say I'm not too sure. to be fair. We have our unique hook. He said, to the best of his knowledge, as of last week, we are the only organization that provides 5 modalities of therapy to people. So that makes us sort of stand out. I think actually the mental health industry is becoming quite saturated with lots of different things. So, and I think there's definitely a two-tier sort of situation that's happening in the mental health organization, in the mental health industry.
Yeah.
And I think that it's really key what is unique about, but it's not unique to us. Other mental health organizations do this too, is making a clear definition between qualified therapy and then the therapeutic sort of nature, and also separating away from some individuals who will claim to be something when they're not. That sort of thing. There's all sorts of stories at the moment. I think we went through a peak about 3-4 months ago, when it didn't feel like I could open my phone without seeing a news story about some horrible person claiming to be a therapist, claiming to be a counselor or something like this, having committed awful sort of deeds. So I think what separates us from them is the fact that actually we engage with qualified therapists. We make sure all the therapists that we work with are registered with the HCPC in regards to dance and play therapists, because they're not protected. It's not a protected qualification job title under HCPC. We do make sure that those individuals, play therapists and a dance therapist, are registered with the appropriate governing body. So we make sure that happens. We make sure every therapist is DBS checked. We make sure that they're having all of their supervision. So we make sure our therapists are actually looking after themselves, which is a key, real sort of key point to sort of make. And that's who we engage with. So that Joe Public, if they get in touch, they know they're going to have a qualified and proper experience. They know they don't have to, they haven't read this horrible article on the BBC News website, and they don't have that doubt that their therapist is going to be, is the therapist who they say they are, sort of thing. They know they're going to qualified therapist. But again, that doesn't really make us unique, because I know there's a lot of other mental health organizations that do the same, have the same rigorous sort of controls in place, safeguards in place, that look after their clients and their customers. But I think that's key. If anybody was to sort of ask us for what's different between Art Therapies UK and Dave's therapy barn, somewhere, is that actually, they know for a fact that they're going to get a qualified therapist to help them on their mental health journey.
Russell, thank you so much for highlighting that, because like you said, there was a point where you couldn't open your phone because there was so much things happening. What do you think needs to be done, Russell, in terms of making sure that these things don't happen or continue, and people are who they say they are, and they don't just have like a piece of paper that says, hey, I am this, but really you're not? What do you think needs to be dumbed down, or what needs to be kind of honed in to make sure that these things don't happen? What do you say?
Wow, how long have you got? But I think the thing is education. It's especially around, I think it's quite clear if you are going to engage with a therapist from talking therapy, like we sort of said, that is the traditional sort of approach. It's not a guarantee. So I think, Joe Public, if they were to engage with a therapist, there's already sort of a bit of safeguards there that, it's the route, it's the traditional route they're going to take. That's it. But it's not going to be there. They still need to do their bit of research check that they are. When it comes to therapies like what we deal with, art, play, music, because that is in a murky pool from the public sort of perception, it's actually a bit of education to make people realize that this is qualified therapy. It is the same as that. It is about again, educating general public that actually, they can go onto the HCPC and put in your name, Calvin, and then find your details on there and know that they're legit. And Joe Public doesn't know to do that. They doesn't know. They don't know to do it. And so I think it's key about advertising that. And I think it also comes down to individual therapists, if they're operating by themselves as a sole enterprise, and organizations like sort of Art Therapies UK, is to actually just keep shouting, we only work with qualified therapists. We only work with these individuals. This is it. So you're getting somebody sort of safe. And it's then putting that message again through to the general public. And whether it's a government thing that actually they need to do, like an awareness campaign. Let's put some posters on the tube. Let them know that actually these are your safeguards. This is how you do it.
Yeah.
Only engage with a therapist through these channels, these sort of things. A bit. We sort of see the adverts, see the messages from our bank saying our bank will never call you. So we're really drumming that message around sort of protecting people from scams and things like that. Yeah. Actually, let's put out a similar message when people are engaging with not just therapists, but other healthcare sort of professionals as well. Actually, you have your core, proper, legit individuals, and you have your dodgy ones. So to make sure you're getting a legit one, these are the steps you take. And let's minimize the steps that people sort of take as well. Let's not make it really sort of complicated or anything like that. It's, you know what? This one website, I want to go in, there's their number, bish, bash, bosh, done. That's who I am. I know he's legit. That's that.
Yeah.
So,
thank you for that, Russell. So listeners, you heard the man himself said, do your research, make sure you're thorough, and make sure that the person you're about to engage with in a mental and therapeutic space is who they say they are. Russell, how do you balance the creative and therapeutic aspects of art therapy with the business side of running an organization?
Oh, it's a good one. I don't know. It depends on what day of the week. You could ask the team. I'll either say I'm doing it brilliantly or I'm doing it awful. I suppose it's it's having a team. Yeah, it's having that team that then work as a filter between what's happening on the shop floor. Is the engineer coming out? What's happening on the shop floor versus what has to happen up there, and having these between us. That helps. That's how you can sort of really sort of provide that balance. I mean, I think if I was a qualified therapist, and even if I was having one day, I've seen clients a day, sort of thing, and doing that, then coming from this, I would say it'll be a really sort of big struggle. Having a level of separation helps, and that helps keeps that balance, and that helps keeps doing it. But also making sure, even though you got that separation, there is still a communication happening. So it's if a therapist or a facilitator who are the individuals who do our community work, our therapeutic community work, if they wanted to get a hold of me, trust me, they can get a hold of me. They find a way. It's making sure I'm not locked away in a room anywhere, sort of thing like that they hear me. But I am listening to the team as well. Another way we do it is then, because I am managed by our board of trustees.
Yeah.
So again, I provide the level between sort of them, but in my reporting processes, in the reporting process, I ensure that the staffing team have a voice. So when they'll complete in a report, but then I attach to my bigger report for the trustees, so then the trustees get to hear actually what they say. I'm not filtering anything out. Their report gets put in, spelling mistakes and everything to the sort of board. That happens at the board, so we get to see it. My board also sort of like to engage with the staffing team too. So it hasn't happened for a while because we've done this restructure, so we're trying to balance it out. But typically what we were doing is one member of the management team, they were invited to a trustees meeting on a rota to sort of talk through their report, share a little bit, come in, say hello, and say what they got to say, and then off they go, sort of thing. So I wasn't wasting all of their time. So it's key, yeah. So that's the key. That's how you make the balance. Have that separation. Make sure you're getting that input, but then also I need that separation so I can concentrate on the spreadsheets, can concentrate on doing a bit of reading, actually finding out what's there, what's going on, where the organization has to go, spot those sort of trends. And then work with the team. I could spot a trend which sort of says, oh, hang on a second, we're 6-7 months time, we're going to have to take this course of action. I don't like it. So it's going back to the team to sort of say, look, this is the pattern, this is what's showing up. Do I have to be worried? Should we be worried? What have you got cooking? What's going on? How are we going to sort of get through this? Actually, am I being a bit pessimistic here? What's going on? And so making sure that actually those decisions aren't made in sort of isolation too. It's looped in. It's all part of the team.
So I just like how you always go back to the team. I like how you always refer back to this is, even though this is the standard, this is where I am, I have to always go back to the people I work with. I really, really love that. I really do.
Don't get me wrong. It isn't always pretty. It isn't always, nice and anything like that. There's times when I have to go back to say, why on earth has this happened? What's going on? Right. No, we can't do it like that. It's that. I mean, I like to think it's more the other than the latter, the thing. But yeah, it's not all sunshines and rainbows.
Yeah, of course. Like you said, it's a business. You want to make sure that everything's running as it should be. Because like you said, you're managing people, and you're managing people who are managing and looking after people as well. So yeah. Russell, how do you see technology and innovation affecting the future of art therapy, if at all?
Well, there's lots of different layers to that, but definitely. I mean, we can, we just take us as an organization for starters. I mean, just take this conversation you and I are having now. We used one piece of technology that didn't work for us. We had a backup, and we're doing this again. You won't be able to do your brilliant podcast without the innovation of technology, without that coming along. So it's really important, I feel, to embrace it and to be part of it. So, and then there's different elements. We have software that we've invested in as an organization that speeds up the admin. We use a CRM system. We also use an AI note taker for when we're doing video calls, something like this. It'll record it, and that's great. That's has saved so much time in meetings because it's a really good piece of software. It's brilliant. I'll be lost without it now, to be honest. I haven't picked up a pen in a meeting online for years. But it's recognizing the potential in technology and not being scared of it, and also recognizing and knowing its sort of limitations and knowing where it can fit in the organization. So again, I know for a fact in therapy, in mental health, the real scary thing is AI and how that's being used and where it's being used.
Yeah.
And it is scary. I mean, talk to my team. I'm a huge advocate of AI for all the stuff we do in the back and all the stuff we do hidden away from direct client. I'm a massive fan of it. Completely sold, completely endorse it, and we use it lots, and it's great. And what it does do is it's sped up so many different elements of the back end that then we can do other stuff and we can help more people. So it's great, it's doing it. But as for interacting directly with a client and a therapist and replacing that, I really can't ever see it doing that. And I'm scared for organizations or people, or even websites, that just get set up when they're using AI as that sort of interaction for them, and what people take away from it. I can see there's a role. I can see there's a really small, really narrow role for it as part of the initial inquiry, maybe, just to make sure it can engage with somebody to get all the information that typically, you would have your checklist sort of thing for that first phone call, that first sort of thing. Great, it can do all of that, and it can do that, and quite possibly ask some offshoot questions, but at no point should it ever be ever used then to give that individual advice, sort of thing. I think it can be used, and I don't think the technology is quite there yet. I mean, please, somebody corrects us if I'm wrong. I don't think it's quite there, but I think it can be there for the information gathering at the start of someone's mental health journey. And I think it could quite possibly almost work better than a human for asking those offshoot questions, sort of thing too. But we're all human. We just forget to ask. Well, I got my checklist. Ask them that, ask them that, ask them that. And then it's, again, after the event, you're like, actually, they answered this for this one. If I had asked them this, that I would have got this information. So I think it can be used and harnessed really well for that initial inquiry. But I would never, ever want to see Siri or Alexa replace you, replace anybody that we work with. I just can't see that happening. And I think it's quite scary that I know that there's some versions of AI that are being used to do that and things like that.
Russell, definitely. I agree with you 100%. It being used in, like you said, the information gathering aspect and the checklist, or just to aid in with the therapeutic work with ourselves or two humans engaging in a therapeutic relationship. So you highlighted so much in that answer. So thank you. Russell, what's one thing you wish more people understood about art therapy that they might not know?
That I banged on about it. Notice that it's legitimate, proper therapy. That's what I want people to know. But it is proper therapy. It is. It's not. It's not messing about with paintbrushes. It's not just banging a drum for the sake of banging the drum. It's not just playing with toys for the sake of playing with toys. It is proper. It's legitimate therapy, and it aids your mental health journey. The people who are engaging with it, it benefits them, it supports them, it gets them to where they need to be. Just as much, if not more, than talking therapy. Again, it's horses for courses, and that's what it is. But it's legit, and that's what I want. That's the one thing that I want people to sort of know about art therapies. It's a legitimate, proper option over.
Russell, art therapy has evolved over the years. How do you see it growing or changing in the next 5 to 10 years?
By the amazing work that I do and my team does, and the Art Therapies UK as an organization is, again, it's evolved to be part of the mental health conversation. It's there's a seat at the table for each one of these qualified, legitimate therapies that's there. It's happening. So when there is a big government review about mental health in the UK, that actually we're represented. Every facet of the industry is represented properly and equally too. That's where I'd like to see it in sort of 5, 10, 50 years time, 15 years time. Again, like everybody in this profession, so everybody listening to this brilliant podcast of yours will sort of be there. That actually the conversation around mental health is a lot easier. I think it's progressed so much, so much, and I am really interested to sort of see where it is in 10, 15 years time. How those sort of conversations are happening. I really interested in sort of seeing what my successor is dealing with, what when they're taking Art Therapies UK to the next level of its evolution, actually where they're going with that, what their challenges are around mental health, are they finding the conversation easier or harder?
Mm.
But again, on the flip side of that coin, I would really love to see in sort of 10, 15, 20 years time that actually Art Therapies UK doesn't exist, because there isn't a need for us as a charity, because the mental health of the country
Yeah.
is actually being taken seriously by the powers that be. It is being properly invested in, properly funded, access for everybody who needs it, doesn't have any barriers to it. They can access. Yeah, that's why we exist as a charity. We exist because people are experiencing a challenge to access arts therapies, and talking therapies. There's so many barriers in place. So yeah, so the dream
Mm.
would be 20 years time, we don't exist, because our work is done.
Yeah.
We're at that table. It's all being funded. If somebody wants or needs therapy, they haven't got an 18-month wait for it. They're able to quickly engage with the AI, filling out the checklist, and then they're paired with a therapist, within 2 weeks. Our aim as an organization is 2 weeks. We aim to, as soon as somebody has reached out and they're willing to engage, and they want to engage once they've learned a bit more about us, we aim to get them in front of a therapist within sort of 2 weeks. Not always 2 weeks, but that's the aim.
That's it.
And that's where it should be as a provision on the NHS for the whole country.
There's something I want to ask you, but I'll pin it, and then once I finish,
Okay.
I'll go back to it. Russell, is there a specific moment or story from your work that reinforced your belief in the power of art therapy?
Again, I look back to that first story I told
Yeah.
about the lady working in when I was working in the learning disabilities charity, and just sort of seeing that. I knew of the power of art. We all do. We all know that. We all know how a piece of art can hit, how a film can hit us, how some music. When we know that, and I think everybody understands that in themselves, how they can be impacted by art.
Mm.
But that is a transaction.
Yeah.
You see it, feel it, that's it. It's done. It wasn't. I had never experienced the long term
Mm.
impact that it would have, and again, that's the story. And I will always come back to that story about that lady.
Yeah.
And my first experiences with the Birmingham Centre for Art Therapies, and how that impacted her, how that changed her, how that helped her grow, and then in turn the effect that it actually had on me.
Yeah.
And giving me that opportunity by seeing her impacting her, it actually gave me an opportunity to self-reflect and to look back and to learn from that sort of experience.
Amazing. Russell, you've given so much. I want to run some personal fun questions with you.
All right. These going to be like the ones I ask in interviews as well. That everybody hates. I love asking these sort of questions.
What's one hobby or activity outside of work that helps you stay inspired and energized?
Travel, local, abroad, wherever travel, and just having new sort of experiences,
Yeah.
accessing them, that helps me feel inspired. I'll visit places. We talked earlier. I've just come back from Mexico City, which again, I love experiencing it. And so Jenny, my wife, she hates it. I'm like, oh, we could live here, couldn't we? We could do this. We could now get all excited, and we could do it. And we're on Rightmove. How much does a house cost? Yes, and sort of thing that. But I think, having those new experiences, that's what helps keep me interested. It's what helps keep me motivated. It helps keep those synapses sort of firing, and what's going on. So travel definitely is key to that.
Travel. Love that. What's a leadership lesson you've learned from a mentor or role model that you still carry with you today?
Good one. There's a whole list of them. I think there's two big ones.
Yeah.
One could be sort of really summed up as almost as a quote. So it was quite early on in my senior management, and I'd hit the senior management level. So when I was starting to manage managers, and yeah, the advice I got, because I think I was quite angsty at the time, and I was with the CEO at the time, and his advice was, look, it's not about the journey now. It's not about the journey. It's actually, you've got to concentrate on the people getting to the destination. So yeah, it was a case of, it doesn't matter how they're doing the task. You've just got to concentrate on getting the task is done, and the task is done in these sort of time frames. It's sort of, and that really helps that transition away from being quite a hands-on person to the whole sort of point, just get out of the way. I'll do it myself because I knew it would be quicker. So that was really sort of good advice that sort of helped me break that sort of cycle, and that was the cycle I was in, and that helped. That was causing me sort of stresses and issues sort of thing at that early stage of my sort of mental of my mad senior management career. Then another one that sort of really started is I worked with a brilliant business coach for a good few years. Brilliant gentleman, Phil Summerfield. If you're listening to this and you want a business coach, go check him out. He's great. I was going through a sort of situation where I was butting heads with another sort of senior management quite often, and it was very much a case of young versus old. Of a senior manager at the time, they had hit cruise control. They wanted that, but I think at the time only a handful of years away from sort of retirement. They didn't know. I still had all this energy. I had all this success. I want to do it. I want to change the world. I am going to change the world. That's sort of thing where I was. So in one of these sort of sessions, it was after we'd sort of butted heads a bit, Phil did this exercise called the empty chair. So the exercise. Talk to the chair, then go sit in the chair, go and see how it goes, and that has still stuck with me sort of in today. So I will still do the mental chair exercise, the empty chair exercise mentally, sort of being in my head at times. I do try and do it before I have to deliver a piece of information or new way of working or some bad news or something. I do try and do that sort of first, and help that sort of inform my approach to it. No, I'm not, never do it all the time, and I do have to do the empty chair exercise a couple of times retrospectively. Definitely an exercise. It's definitely a piece that really sort of resonated with me. It's still with me, and again, I would give that as advice to sort of other managers coming to me and things like that.
I love that you mentioned the empty chair. That's one of my favorite like techniques within the field. So that's amazing that you said that. Being in, let's say, in the creative field, so to speak, do you have a personal favorite art medium or form of expression?
You know what? I don't have a favorite. I'm easy. I love it all. Movies and music. Sort of my go-to. Child of the 80s, and sort of VHS was a sort of big thing. Movie nights were always a big thing in the family. So I love movies. I will come out with so many pop culture references that they're sort of inbred into me, sort of thing now. And the scary part now is I'm working with people when I come out with a pop culture reference. I have no idea what I'm talking about. That's a sobering time. I've employed people who weren't alive when Jurassic Park was released. So that's terrifying. So movies and music, they're always good ones. So, but I love live theatre. Really, really love the fact that I'm blessed that I get the opportunity to go and sort of see live theatre, and that has only been since really I've met my wife. She encouraged that for us and that to do it. It was never something I engaged with. It was always something that I felt really wasn't for me. Being the lad from the council estate, it was like I didn't go to the theatre. Sort of thing. I didn't realise how powerful it was. And that's sort of really good. And then art. I love. I just love looking at pieces of art. That sort of thing. I mean, whenever I'm sort of out on the high street, if I walk past a Castle fine art gallery, I just always always go in sort of thing and try not to make eye contact with the salesperson because I don't want to buy it, can't buy one. But walk in, have a look around, have that sort of experience and go for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, yeah. Can't pick a favorite
Can't.
at all.
Do you have a favorite piece of art? Can I ask you that?
Ah, yeah. I really like an artist called Paul Kenton. And you are very fortunate. We have we have two pieces of his at home.
Yeah.
Jen, she got me one for my 40th, which is great. It's massive. And then we got one for Venice. I do like him. I like him as an artist, and I'll sort of really get drawn to sort of anything that he sort of does. So yeah, so anything from him, and then Bob Dylan's artwork. Actually, I don't know. Yeah. Again, like I sort of said, there's always an impulse to walk into a castle.
Yeah.
Art sort of thing. And I do remember sort of being over the years going there, always going to the Paul Kentons, being sort of lost in that sort of art. And then seeing the Bob Dylans, I'm not really thinking too much of it. It wasn't there. But then I've sort of found myself over the last couple of years, actually, the stuff he's painting now and producing now, I'm actually a bit more drawn to it. So yeah, so I'd probably say yeah, Paul Kenton. The Paul Kenton pieces we have at home, they're my favourite, definitely. But always open to sort of having a look at more. And yeah, if I win the lottery, maybe I could treat myself to a Bob Dylan piece.
Last question for you, Russell, because you spoke about legacy when you spoke about in 20 years, Art Therapies UK not being around and everything being accessible. So I literally took legacy away from you when you said that. So if you could give one piece of advice to someone aspiring to, I guess, become a CEO, present or future, or into therapy, in the therapy space, what would it be?
I suppose it's a bit layered advice.
That's okay.
It's don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to take the chances. Don't be afraid of the people around you. They're not coming for your job. So the more you invest in the people around you, they're not going to come and take your job, your role. They're actually going to make your job easier, and so that you can achieve more and you can do that. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of people. Don't be afraid to invest in them. The more you give, the more you get. Definitely. I'd sort of say, yeah, that's it. I mean, just always make sure that you are, every step forward you take, you're looking behind you to make sure that you are helping somebody else take 2 more steps that way to leave the place better than you found it.
I'm gonna probably use that again as your title. You said so much, Russell. Russell, someone's heard you today and they want to reach out. I know you're a very busy man. What's the best way for them to reach out to you?
Best way is probably drop me an email. russellwall at arttherapiesuk.org.uk. Or if you didn't get that, just go to the Art Therapies website and just fill in the contact form there. It'll get to me, definitely. But yeah, and again, if somebody hears this and somebody wants to chat, wants to talk, just do it. Just drop me a message. Don't ever sort of think, oh, no, he's too busy or anything like that. Just, again, no good story starts with the word no. So just send that message.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have been your host, Calvin Anderson. We've had the man, the myth, the legend, Russell Wall of Art Therapy.
I'm having that one. I'm having that one on my LinkedIn. The man, the myth, the legend. That's it. I'm having that. You can put the other ones on your podcast, but I'm having that.
You're having that one? Perfect. Ladies and gentlemen, take care. Have a good night. Speak soon. God bless.